think after a cataclysmic war, and then everybody comes home and is glad to have a house, a little tiny house in Levittown, glad they're alive, and have a family, and everybody gets short haircuts like the military, and then the kids come up in that, and then, that's a kind of rejoicing in this material way over being alive, and then the next generation comes along and says, dude, what's with the haircut? What's with the So that was our generation. We in a natural kind of, it looks to me, in the natural kind of expansion and contraction of the world, and especially the American culture, this was the music got really boring after Elvis went to Hollywood and the doo-wop thing stopped, and the guys with the white bucks took over. Pop music got kind of boring, and I think that's what drove the whole. And guys like me started to discover who T-Bone Walker was, and then beyond him, some old 1930s record of Snooks Eaglin, Statesboro Blues, and like, where's Statesboro, man? What the hell? And of course, then I realized, it's in Georgia, far out. And beyond that, that's, I think, that boredom and that rebellion against the crew cut, and that whole crew cut mentality of, let's really, because we hadn't been to war. We wanted the next, we wanted the next thing. We wanted to open it up, and we wanted to grow our hair out, and we wanted to expand in that way. And some of us, I think, the music that I'm most familiar with in the American culture came out of the folk, came out of our interest in folk music. I'm not sure the Beach Boys were like that, but they were a little bit ahead of us. But the whole Lovin' Spoonful, who did Turn?
Birds.
The Byrds, the Buffalo Springfield, Taj Mahal was there, Richie Havens, and the old folk guys like, God, I'm bad with names these days. Dave Van Ronk, and of course guys that I met like Lightnin' Hopkins and the Mississippi John Hurt. I remember sitting around a room. I spent a lot of time with Lightnin' because, I don't know, we hit it off, and I mean the only way he could afford to play folk clubs was to stay in people's houses. So he stayed with me sometimes and stayed with other people. And
wow.
I remember taking him down to get his hair processed. I'd never seen that happen before,
Oh, jeez.
And the Lightning was wonderful. He always had a bottle of gin, but he never saw him drunk. And during the day, he always wore a do-rag until it was time for to keep his do happening, and until it was time for the show. He was a wonderful man, and to get the chance to know some of these guys and kind of sit at their knee. I don't know whether he ever let me play the guitar, I ever dared to play with him, but, I was there in situations where we'd spend hours and hours together, and that music kind of soaked into me, and John Hurt's music too, which is very different.
Yeah.
I remember Lightning and I once went to see Skip James, and he poked me in the ribs and said, "He sings like a woman." Because Skip sings is real. And I realized that a lot of the blues guys were pretty tough on each other, but not John Hurt. John Hurt was, of course, he was 82 when he was rediscovered. He was a soul of loving kindness. He was the grandfather of grandfathers. And, you hear it in his music. It's very different. It's very loving and sweet. Yeah, and that's how he was.